And welcome back, everyone. Pre-recording as I do on Mondays. I'm actually really liking the pre-recording style. Doing that to make sure I have a bunch of videos out for the first half of the week, and that way I can kind of ease in and just do the other ones at more simple pace. Instead of every day having me like, okay, I need to have a video, need to go do a video now, I need to go do a video now. Instead, I can actually relax on, like, say, tomorrow when I only got like an hour and a half before I got to go to cards. Gotta go. I play cards on Tuesdays with my dad. Or on Wednesday when I maybe had a couple errands to run. Like this Wednesday, I got some errands to run. So yeah, I'm enjoying the pre-recording method. I'm gonna keep that up. But coming to us from Anthony Marino Sorto, longtime viewer, asked the question: who would win a fight, Captain Jack Sparrow versus Puss in Boots? Look, Zorro versus Puss in Boots made a lot of sense. They're in essence kind of the same thing. The Antonio Banderas, obviously, his connection is there too. Jack and Puss doesn't quite make as much sense to me. And here's the immediate problem with this fight. They're two very different... they're two very different characters, but they're two very different, not even types of characters. What they are is two different types of characters. One is a pirate, and the other is a swashbuckling defender of, the meek fighting bandits and monsters galore. So they are very different that way. Now, that being said, Jack is not completely helpless. Despite how Jack presents himself, he's actually quite intelligent. He just tends to bungle a lot, too, and get very, very lucky. He's also a surprise. His luck perceptions are, if we're going by Dina's standards, his luck rolls are out of this world. But he's also a fairly skilled swordsman. He's not a master swordsman, but he is highly skilled. Against real masters, he usually struggles, so he has to resort to trickery. But that's the other thing. He's good at thinking on the fly and using his environment to his advantage. He usually does carry a single-shot pistol on him, so he does have that going for him. He has no real mind for strategy. He kind of just makes it, as he kind of says, and he just makes his stuff as it goes along. It's like, you're mad. Oh, thank goodness, because if I wasn't, this would probably never work. But seriously, yeah, it's like he's kind of mad a little bit. But it works in his favor. He is able to overcome great obstacles, great odds, and just survive near death on so many occasions. Because for some reason, this man has luck oozing out his wazoo. Whereas Puss is, well, as of last wish, down to his last life. But he is still extremely capable for a cat that would be... Ooh, that's a good question, because the cats in Puss in Boots do legitimately have 9 lives. How long those lives last are up for debate. I mean, do cats still have their average lifespans in this world? Because they're magical creatures in this case, I'm willing to bet not. So Puss is probably a lot older than he looks. That's a question I never even thought to consider. How old is Puss in Butts? How old is Puss in Butts? How old is Puss in Boots? Let's find out, shall we? How old is Puss in Boots? All right. How old is Puss in Boots? Do we know the answer? In the multiple matches of Puss in Boots, including, there are multiple. Okay, thank you, AI, but that's not what I asked. Let's see. How old is Puss in Boots in human years? As a Shrek timeline maker, I know this Puss is seemingly born in 1394 in Puss in Boots 1, and he is 21 to 22 in Shrek 2. He'd be around 27 to 28, roughly speaking, in his own movie, Puss in Boots: Last Wish. That's the rough estimate. And that's from apparently a Shrek timeline maker. So he is 27 to 28, which makes him a walking corpse by caps. Wow, I'm really screwing up my vocabulary today. By cat standards, he's a walking corpse. Yeah, at 27, 28, he should have died about a decade ago. But cats being magical enough to be sentient, be able to talk sometimes, having 9 lives. And by the way, this doesn't seem to be the case for every single cat. Notice that. Not every cat seems to be able to talk. They probably all have the 9 lives. So my guess is that there are certain cats within the Puss in Boots world that are true magical creatures. They are capable of being more anthropomorphized. Point being, though, even in his late 20s, going into his 30s, which makes him God knows how old in human years, he is still a formidable fighter, moving at very quick speeds. His small stature allows him to basically kind of Yoda his individual, just have attack with blinding speed, and being such a small target makes him difficult to hit. He is skilled with his rapier. He's a master of the baking. But no, he's skilled with his rapier. He's stronger than he looks, but he's not that strong. He's skilled enough to take down a giant on his own. And deceptive, and he's extremely quick and agile. But he is still a cat. If Jack gets one good shot in on him, he's going to be hurt. Like if he gets a kick in on him, it's going to hurt Puss. If he slices him, well, Puss is dead. So the question in a fight between these two is simply going to come down to who gets the kill shot. Now, that being said, the kill shot might take a bit longer for Jack because a bigger body can survive more shots. Even Puss is not going to be able to cut him straight through with that thing. That's not how that type of sword works. Even though we see it cut like ropes and vines and stuff, cutting through a whole body is not what his rapier is designed to do. Whereas Jack could cut through a whole cat, no problem. His cutlass is more designed for an actual cutting weapon. A rapier like that isn't. In fact, that's a lot more like a foil rapier. Epee foil. It's more like a fencing rapier than an actual sword. If you actually look at it in the movie, it doesn't have a defined blade. Most swords, even rapiers, do have a defined blade. This seems more like a sharp, stick of metal that's got edges to it. It's hard to tell from this image, but if and I've made the image, so I can't move Puss in Boots out of the way there. But it's a bit more like chunky metal with some edges on it that are sharp enough to cut things, but not sharp enough to just clean right through something, whereas Jack's cutlass is. Jack also does have the advantage of having a firearm on him, which Puss doesn't normally carry. Now, Puss has dealt with firearms before, to a certain degree. But, yeah, Jack having a firearm does help because it does offer a level of surprise to him. So, and a kill shot if he hits Puss. So, these two meet in a fight. Who would win? Jack's probably trying to get away. He's not going to want to fight Puss. He's just a talking cat. Am I in the locker again? It's like, all right, Jack. You have a bounty on your head, and I am here to collect. It's like, oh, really? What's my bounty at now? It's like 5, and it's like, this is that little? It's like, seriously, that much? It's like, I'm worth at least 10 of that. My Jack's not as good as he used to be. Look, mate. I don't really want to don't want any fuss. So why don't you go and poop in a little box somewhere, find a nice ball of yarn, and I'll be on my way. Say, fear me if you dare. It's like, bugger! It's like, and he starts running. Eventually, Puss would catch up to him. Jack has to draw a sword, and they would start clashing in a duel of blades. Jack is a skilled swordsman, but Puss is a skilled swordsman. And style of fighting-wise, Puss is difficult for Jack to handle. Like I said, it's kind of like Yoda fighting Dooku or Sidious. That small guy jumping around and with a fast blade, Jack is going to be in trouble. And he's even getting poked. It's like, yeah, and he just pulls out his gun and just fires at Puss. And Puss, loses his hat, definitely. And he actually even just, Now, this will be after Puss has basically come to terms with his mortality, so he definitely wouldn't be scared of blood or getting hurt. That being said, he would still be surprised, and Jack starts swiping at him as best he can. Jack would also be trying to use the environment around him to his advantage, which would work in his favor, but would also work in Puss's favor, as Puss can do this too. Long and short of it, the fight would go on for a while. I do think Puss would probably end up being the winner, just because against more skilled opponents, Jack does struggle more, and against someone like Puss, who's just a tiny cat, he's not really going to have a proper defense against something that's small and fast. His best chance is to either shoot Puss when he's got the chance, or just get one solid strike in Puss, because if he gets one hit on them with that cutlass, that cat's cleaved in half, and Puss is dead. Problem is, Puss is has just as much fought against other individuals with weaponry as Jack has, if not more. And he's fought against far stronger individuals and won. He can beat a giant, whereas Jack can't even beat some humans in a sword fight. So I would go Puss in Boots in this fight. I do think there's definitely scenarios where Jack does, first off, draw the gun just and shoot him straight in the face and just kill Puss. Or, surprise him and then shoot and stab him or whatever. I definitely think there are scenarios like that because Jack is far more underhanded than Puss. But long term and the majority wise, I'm going with Puss in this fight. Let me know in the comments below what you think, though. Do you agree with me? Do you think Puss will win? Or do you think Jack actually gets the majority of wins? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you folks for the next one. Later.